Yo guys, Justin James with the 10-7 here. I'm here to talk about one of my favorite fighters and one of the greatest welterweights of all time, in my opinion, Ruthless Robbie Lawler. Guys, making his pro debut in 2001. He makes his UFC debut in 2002. Has an incredible 7-year stretch in the UFC. Goes to Strikeforce in 2009. Finds himself back in the UFC in 2013. He holds a combined UFC record of 15 wins and 10 losses. During that 15-win and 10-loss stretch, he became the UFC champion in 2014, winning a split decision over Johnny Hendricks. Then, unfortunately, in 2016, he got knocked out by Tyrone Woodley to lose his belt. Guys, last week or 10 days ago, Robbie Lawler was introduced into the UFC Hall of Fame. More than deserving, guys. If you were watching the UFC event, you saw a very emotional and heartfelt Robbie Lawler. But after being introduced into the Hall of Fame, they did an incredible video at the event. Robbie Lawler has put himself back in the testing pool for the UFC. Guys, this is huge news. We could see a resurgence of Robbie Lawler. And I'll be honest, Robbie won his last fight, his send-off fight, in very dramatic fashion. He got a knockout win over Nico Price. And as a fan of the sport, I don't want to see Robbie come back. As a fan of Robbie, I don't want to see him come back. Guys, nothing good can come of this. Robbie, unfortunately, is a little too old to win the UFC championship. But there is speculation that that the UFC is doing an event in the hometown of Robbie Lawler lives. And allegedly, again, this is speculation, this is not a fact, that Robbie Lawler wants to come back for this last event. More of like a hometown send-off. Guys, I love the story, I love the backstory, but after knocking out Nico Price in his last fight, Robbie has won 3 of his last 8 fights. You know, he was on a couple fight losing streak leading up to Nico Price, gets the incredible knockout. I was very happy to send him off and see him go. Man, and I just don't know who they're going to bring in to fight him, man. I don't want them to put him against another crazy, a crazy up-and-coming guy and then, finish his career on a loss. Now, who I wouldn't mind seeing, and there's been speculation of this old-time vet making a comeback, putting himself back in the pool of testing for UFC, and that is the one and only Cowboy Cerrone. Guys, I'm a huge fan of both of these guys, and what an incredible showdown match this would be. Both guys, not being the fighter they once were, but still holding such a credible name and, having such incredible fights. Robbie Lawler versus Rory MacDonald. Guys, if you haven't seen that fight, it's one of the greatest fights of all time, guys. It was for the UFC championship. Robbie gets Rory to retire at about 1 minute into the 5th round, but we're talking about a knock him down, drag him out fight. You have Cowboy Cerrone, with arguably one of the craziest and smoothest head kicks. Unfortunately, towards the end of his career, he couldn't really put it together, losing to guys like Conor McGregor by shoulder strikes, which was really weird. But nonetheless, I'm a huge fan of Cowboy. Guys, tell me what you think. If Robbie Lawler does come back, who do you want him to face? Me, personally, I want to see Robbie Lawler and Cowboy Cerrone go at it one more time. It would be a battle of the legends in Robbie Lawler's hometown. Again, reiterate, this is all speculation. This is just what I want to see if Robbie Lawler returns. Cowboy Cerrone returns. What an incredible matchup. Former UFC champ, 2 UFC greats going at it one last time. Guys, tell me what you think in the comments.